What is up, everybody? How are you guys doing today? And welcome back for another review. Today we are going over HellFest. Now, HellFest tells the story of three young girls and their boyfriends being stalked by a mass murderer serial killer. Wait, I know you probably have heard that one before. This time it's in a traveling Halloween carnival-esque event. What is good about HellFest? And right off the bat, I have to mention that the budget on this movie is like $5.5 million. And if you know Blumhouse and how they do horror movies, they usually only give them very minimal. Like,
you get $2 million to do a movie, you get $3 million to do a movie.
So $5.5 million for a movie, it's pretty up there, especially for a movie like this where it doesn't have any well-known names or as far as like actors or directors attached to it. And I have to say, the color and the sharpness and the cinematography in this movie is gorgeous, and it shows throughout this movie that the budget was well spent. The color palette is very neat, and it's like the neons are very bright, and it has just this glow to it. I love the way they also break it up as far as it just doesn't feature like one maze and they're just trapped in there and the killer is trying to get after them. It's like there's one maze, but that maze just is random rooms, and then there's the dark ride sequence, and then there's stuff behind the scenes, and then they finally get to the HellFest or wherever that is located at within this park. And also Tony Todd, oh man.
The steps of hell! You're accused of doing the devil's work. What say you? But you must pay for your transgression. Your head.
Tony Todd has still got it. I love his character. He just has that presence that you love seeing in a spooky Halloween-esque movie. The only gripe I have about that, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Natalie, that we follow, she is deemed our final girl right off the bat. She's the one that we are supposed to feel connected to, and I didn't really feel connected too much to her, but I did like her character. She was easy to like. She was just kind of there for the ride, as opposed to the other characters who are a little bit more stereotypical. Also, I have to give credit to the killer. Every time he shows up, it is pretty creepy that he stands around, that he does these sort of Michael Myers-esque, movements, staring at his targets. It's very creepy. Some of the kills are really awesome, and that is really what I enjoyed about this. There's far more gore and blood in these kills than I expected. There is one particular scene that happens, and I'm not sure if that's supposed to be played up for comedy or not, where Natalie is alone in the haunted house, or at least this segment of the haunted house, and the killer walks up to her and she says, the victim you want is in there. And he grabs the girl and he's about to stab her, and Natalie says,
just play it cool.
I can just do it.
And he does it. And I'm not sure stuff like that is supposed to be played up for laughs, or is it just supposed to show how psychotic this guy is? I'm not quite sure which one of those it's supposed to be played out to be. On to what is bad about HellFest, and there's probably plenty. And speaking of Natalie, like we did in the good segment, Natalie is decent. She doesn't go overboard. She doesn't do much to really stand out, but she's just okay, because the cast of characters around her are all pretty typical, just stereotypical. It's like he's the jock, he's the one trying to sleep with the girlfriend, he's the shy guy, The other one, well, they kind of switched that one around. Instead of it being the guy that's being kind of outlandish and loud and annoying and douchey in a way, it's it's Taylor. And I didn't like her on Scream, the TV show, and I definitely don't like her in this movie.
Taylor and Smythe, totally did it. You have, because I've actually done laps around the 7 deadly sins.
Oh!
I love this place so much!
I'm not quite sure if she's acting or is it a little bit of her in each of these roles that she's doing. And really, all the characters you don't really care about. If they disappear, they get killed, it's just like, that's cool. Like, let's move on to the next. I think that stems to it not having a better script overall. The script of this movie is just written to be very bland in ways. The characters move around from point A to B and there's not much happening. There's like the character stalks them, they go into something and some spooky stuff happens, they come out, they go to another thing, and there's just not anything overall happening in this movie. I mean, stuff gets going and it happens maybe like in the last 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of this movie. But a good chunk of it is just trying to showcase the theme park of where they filmed this at and trying to give that more of a character than the actual characters themselves. And speaking of Tony Todd, like I did in the good section, he's awesome. But in this movie, he's only in like one scene, and I wish he was in this a bit more. Why do you have someone like that and only have him do a cameo or a little sequence? I don't know. There's a lot of things versus reality in this movie, and you kind of have to suspend your belief about a whole lot of things. There is no way you go into a theme park attraction like this and it's empty. And I'm seeing a lot of people review-wise are saying this movie is fun and we can forgive a lot of the stuff in the movie. I feel if you give every single movie a pass just because it's fun and it's got problems, it doesn't have to be Scream. It doesn't have to be, you know, Halloween or I Know What You Did Last Summer, or it doesn't have to be this classic slasher. But it does have to at least get some things right. And between the characters not being so great, and between the killer just kind of being just this killer with no background, nothing to him, nothing exciting. We don't learn anything about him other than what happens in the end. It's kind of just bland. It becomes a bland slasher with bland characters, some good kills, and the coloring is good, and the palette they use and the sharpness of this movie is really, really good. But overall, I have to give HellFest, I'm gonna say like a solid 6 out of 10. It's a perfect movie to put on like Netflix if you're kind of have a Halloween party and you want something on in the background, or to get you in a spooky mood and you just kind of have it running while you're doing other stuff. It's perfect for that kind of movie. It's not really perfect for a theater type going out and paying $8 or $9 to go see this, because to me it comes off as something that you would find on VOD already and not in a theater release. If you saw the movie, leave what did you think down below. Leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will catch you guys on another Horror Talk review very, very soon. Zombie Chris, out of here.